head coach Pirates, Thomas Manas.
Hi,
How you
guys.
doing, Tom?
Good, buddy. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No
Good seeing
problem. Good seeing you too. So, you guys got a gauntlet of a schedule
you. Yep. Yeah, the
starting
league.
Saturday with Tulsa.
Yeah, no. Well, we're excited about that one for sure. Big
Yep.
game, huge game for both of us, Tulsa and us.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's. I told the guys today it's one of the last opportunities we're going to have to control our own destiny is Saturday.
Great.
And
Yep.
then when you get down to the last couple games, then you play your heart out, you do the best you can, but at the end of the day, you're not having to look as hard over your shoulder, we'll say, for other teams to not do well, for you to get in and this and that. This game gives us an opportunity to uh, push a little bit further ahead of where we need to be. So
Awesome. Yeah, Tulsa Oilers. It doesn't get any easier because then you go from Tulsa to Green Bay.
yeah, my old stomping grounds. Yeah. No, I like Green Bay's a really good football team too. So
Mm-hmm.
they're going through. You talk about a tough schedule. Their last four games, holy cow! Wouldn't wish that on anybody. Um, so they've got to do some good things too, and I know they're hungry to do that. Um, that would make our game even more important,
Mm-hmm.
as we get down to it. And then of course we finish with Bay Area, which is never easy. Had some
No.
success earlier in the year when I was with San Antonio, but they've gotten a lot better since then, and
Mm-hmm.
they're a tough football team. They're always a perennial, so it's just weird that I got to finish the season with another West team. You know,
Yeah. So realistically, if you guys win out, you could be as low as the. Could you get the 3 seed? Three.
I don't know, man. I think Jacksonville's probably got the most favorable
Mm-hmm.
fin out of the top five of us right now. Um, but I think we could take the three if Green Bay struggles a little bit and we keep winning.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but hey, I'm happy to just be in after the way things started.
I mean,
So
that's all you really need is a ticket to the big dance, and then you're
0-0.
whoever whoever plays the best game that day.
Well, that's it. And I say this to coaches and players all the time. The term "any given Sunday" is not a cliche. It's real. Um,
Mm.
I don't have to be better than Tulsa as a football team on Saturday. I just have to be a better football team with them on Saturday during the game, right?
Yeah.
So um, it's just whoever is prepared, whoever is healthy, which I believe at this point, and I try to convince everybody around me that it's about keeping your players vertical, not horizontal, health wise. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the next 3-4 weeks, the end of the season. I'm convinced that not necessarily the best teams win Super Bowls or IFL championships and all that. I think it's the better, healthiest teams win.
Mm-hmm.
The teams that are healthy. Um, look at Tulsa. Tulsa was on a run, and they've had to rethink some things because of TJ going down, which was really unfortunate.
Very
Um,
unfortunate.
Yeah, and I don't know if anyone saw the game. As I was about, I don't know, 10 yards from him when it happened, and it's just one of those things where the offensive line was just trying to shed the defensive end, and when he shed him into the quarterback. Um, Nobody's fault. It's a football play, happens 100 times a game,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it was just unfortunate because I know their coaching staff very well, and I like them all, and I like TJ. I think TJ is a hell of a football player. It was just sad to see him go down that way, you know. But that's part of coaching where you have to start rethinking things, bringing guys in, doing all that, and the rumor mill's running rampant of who's going to be the quarterback Saturday, and I get probably 10 calls a day. Oh, you're going to play against, and oh, you whatever, we'll play whoever they put out there. So
Do you
we're
have
okay.
film on both of the guys that they have right now, or
I got film on three of the guys. We'll just say
three
that
of the guys?
the one they're not talking about too. Yeah, yeah. We tend to over prepare. So so you know I think that's the mark of a good staff, is that we don't just look at the obvious, we look at the other things too. um I've said this before. I even go so far as to scout refs, just to see how they call games. um I think that you have to be, this isn't a job for me, it's a career. So
Mm.
I if I'm going to be away from home for 5, 6 months out of the year, I try to make sure that we fill that time with, you know, good, positive, busy work, where who your refs are going to be. Okay, let's watch a couple games they ref. Let's see how they call games. They call holding tight, they call PI tight. How do they ref? Then I think you look at the possible scenarios now at quarterback. Okay, we've looked at two of their quarterbacks that are on their roster, and we looked at a third who's not on their roster that may be there. It's just trying to have as much information as you can. And then at the end of the day, we like to believe that, especially defensively, that we're good enough where you have to make the adjustments. We don't have to make the adjustments. We'll make on field adjustments, but you need to make the pre-week adjustments to our defense. And by doing that, I think that gives them more work, more preparedness, things they got to do too. So that's just my opinion. So love it or hate it, it's just an opinion.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, but when we were in NAS, you guys were what, 3-5, something like that, right?
I think 2 and 5. Yeah, two
Two
or
and
three,
five.
2 and 5.
Yeah,
I think.
and I told you to just stay the course, and I saw you guys being right where you're at today.
I'll tell you what. I've been there about 36 hours before that game,
Yeah,
and I come in and I got this great roster. I mean, this roster is ridiculous. And when I say ridiculous, you talk about a coach's dream roster. And as much as I
mm,
love Jawad and Hassan, the owners, I came here for this roster. That was the
yeah,
deciding factor for me. I mean, my nose guard started for Nick Saban for 2 years, won two national championships. My one cornerback's from Georgia, my other one's from Florida, the other guy's from. I mean, the pedigree on this team is absolutely ridiculous. My jack linebacker started at Auburn. Come on. You go to some teams, and I'm not taking anything away from some teams. I'm not, because I've won with different rosters where
mm.
you kid from Bob's College, Division 3, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's great, but every coach loves coaching pedigree. Every coach loves coaching pedigree. These guys been on the big stage. They know how to do it. I think it just took a little bit of some old man coming in and just reminding them why we do what we do, and just calming the situation down. And they let me put in my defense, and and we kind of bought in. And I told you, I said, I've said this on a couple podcasts already. I said, when I got here, I probably had 10% of the room bought in. 10%. And then within 4 weeks, we were probably at 75. And then it went to 85. And we're damn near close to 100 right now, if not 100, bought in on what we're trying to do. And that takes time, right? So we went on that little winning stretch that we had. Um, I think we won like 5 out of the last 7 games or something like that, 5 of the last 6. I don't even know. After they're gone, I just put them away and move on to the next one because we have no bye weeks
Mm-mm.
through this whole thing. Um, and yeah, it's just kind of it took care of itself. And it's a players' game, man. These kids are playing their butts off. They're just good football players, and it's fun to coach them.
Well, whoever did the schedules for the whole league did a really fabulous job because you have Arizona playing San Diego, Tulsa
Mhm.
plays Massachusetts, Bay Area plays Vegas. You
Oh,
can't get better.
and who's Green Bay playing?
Quad City.
Yeah,
So this
yeah. I'm
week is going to be action packed week. It's going to determine.
It's one of
It's
those
like,
games where you don't admit it to the public, but you come in at halftime and you ask what the scores are right away. you know,
hmm
did Jacksonville win? Who's winning Green Bay game? What was that? You come in and
yeah.
just check. It's just fun. It's just that time of year. You know, this is like Christmas for coaches and players. I mean, this is Christmas Eve. This is when it's so much fun to play football. I had a conversation with all the players today. I brought
Mm.
them together. Wednesday's usually our big day. Wednesday is we put in. It's a long day for us. And I said to them, I said, "Do you guys understand one how important this game is to us? This is the last time we'll have the opportunity to control our own destiny, um, and that's one. And I said, two is, um, do you realize that there's like 9 billion people in the world, right? And you're one of a few hundred that get to play professional indoor football at this level out of that whole population." And I took my coaches and I said, said to my OC, I said, "Do you understand you're one of 14 guys in the entire planet that is an OC for the premier indoor football league in the world? Do you get that? That's how cool your job is." So I try to remind them and myself every day how blessed we are, and that if
Mm.
we did, there by the grace of God, I mean, we could all be, you know, doing something else. And we get to do this every day. So take advantage of it, man. Just enjoy every minute of it, and put your passion to it, and try to relay as much goodwill as you can, not only to your players, but to your fans and to everybody else, because we're so lucky to get to do what we do. We're just so lucky, you know, win, lose, or draw.
We definitely appreciate what you guys do, and you guys put out an amazing product on the field to go and watch. I've been to like 4 of your games
I
that
know.
you've been coaching in.
I know it's funny. Um, you know, first of all, can I take a minute and talk to the people of Texas real quick? Because um, not only was my time in San Antonio very, very special, but also my time before my time with the Gunslingers, I'd spent a lot of time in Texas. Um, and I just want to reach out and tell people that with all the floods and everything that's been going on, how much not only they've been in our prayers, but we've I know Miss Susan and I have contributed what we can to help the cause down there. But I just want them to know. I know it seems like you're alone right now. You're not alone. A lot of people who love you guys are praying for you, and the losses, the children, the amount of children that were lost in that flood is heartbreaking. So I just encourage everybody. That's the one thing about indoor football fans, regardless of your league you're in. Um,
Mhm.
they're they're good people and they're passionate, and I hope they all reach out. If you can help financially, help them, but also even just your prayers mean so very much to them right now. So I just wanted to say that, and not let them think because I'm gone there. They haven't been on my mind. They've been on my mind every day. Um, and yeah, just horrible stuff. But on a brighter note, if there is such a transition, um, this time of year for indoor football fans is um, not only on the IFL network, but also getting to a game and experiencing it. I told my guys today, get ready to walk into Tulsa with 15,000 fans.
Mm.
I thought it was going to be a record, IFL record. I really do. I think there's going to be an IFL record or damn close to it. That's how important this game is. I think that's how pumped up they are. We're looking forward to that atmosphere. So, yeah, get out and see a game. And I love always looking up and seeing you and your Padre sitting there. And it's always good to see your support. And you've been a great fan and friend, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. So, have you coached in Tulsa before?
In Tulsa?
Yeah.
No, just in college, not in indoor or anything like that. No, Tulsa's a cool little town. I could give you some great stories, but I think my wife's watching this about Tulsa. Anyway, no, it's nothing nefarious or anything like that. It's just when I was in college, because I went to Kansas State, we would frequent Tulsa, Oklahoma on weekends in the off season. So I spent a lot of time in Tulsa, and then later on in the years, I got an opportunity to meet some people that were involved in football camps in Tulsa, and they wanted teams like in Wichita. You know, they've been trying to get a team in Wichita so bad, right? Um, there's been teams in Norman or in Oklahoma City, I should say. Um, the Wranglers back in the day, all those different places in Oklahoma in general is just they're like Texas with football. I mean, it's crazy football. They love, they're passionate about football. But downtown Tulsa is really really a unique place because Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock, there's nobody there. It's like whew, they're gone, right? But now there's sections in suburbs that are busy and hopping and all that. But it was crazy when I got down there, and I just I thought, wow, okay, different. But then you go to like a Tulsa University of Tulsa football game, or you go down there, or you go to Norman, or you go anyplace else, or Oklahoma City, or all those places. It's just incredible. It's like a Nebraska, Texas, Oklahoma triangle, the football triangle down there. It's just very, very passionate and really good people, down to earth, just absolutely fantastic people.
Awesome. So, have you heard the expansion rumor about Seattle SaberCats joining the IFL?
I'll tell you what, I hope it's true. I don't think it'll ever be like the old SaberCats,
No.
um, because that was special.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know they had their own plane?
SaberCats had their own plane.
Yeah,
The Fries, yeah.
yeah. They had their own team plane. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, no, and just what the Fries did, for football, and Coach
Mm-hmm.
Arbette and I are very good friends, and we talk all the time. And I think that's what probably got him into the Hall of Fame. That whole stint there with Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Fry. But you know, any expansion is not necessarily good expansion, right? I think
Correct.
if the right ownership, I think the Saber Cat market would probably be great. You know, I'm still pushing really, really hard for Ohio, Michigan, get the team back in Maine. I want one in Savannah, Georgia. I want another one in Florida, Pensacola, maybe Tampa. Bring a team to Orlando again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I, I think that there's so many great opportunities, but again, our commissioner, he's steadfast, and I love that about him, is that he's steadfast in the point that he is going to vet these guys and make sure that they have the ability, sustainability to do the things we do. You're a huge Rattlers fan, right? You got
Correct.
one. You got one of the best owners in the world in that football team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and um, it's that kind of ownership. Our ownership here in Massachusetts is fantastic. for how he cares for these players is incredible, and how he takes care of them and houses them and feeds them and treatment and anything that they need to maintain their health is way above board. I know in San Antonio, we did a great job of doing that too. Um, Mr. Rackler did that as well. I know that there's Jacksonville does a great job. I know that, all these different teams, Tulsa is another great team, takes care of their people. Quad Cities takes care of their people. Everybody has the group we have now. There's not a question mark next to any of them. And I just hope that we maintain that. Um, I don't want to say elitism, but yeah, the owners are elite, and keep them in good company. Don't bring in somebody where they're going to end up bailing them out, have to pay their bills for the last half of the season because they can't make it. We all lived through those days, right? Let's just make sure that whoever we bring in is sustainable, strong, and has something to bring to the table outside of a logo.
For quantity.
Yeah,
right?
but again, I think you have to have quantity to a certain degree because I want more opportunities for football players and coaches to have jobs. So, I think that New Mexico is going to be a great addition next year, right? Coming back. I think that's fantastic. You get that, you get a team like a SaberCats. That would be fantastic. That brings us back to 16. This thing's going to eventually cap out. And you want the guys that have been the owners that have sustained the league to benefit from it capping out. You know what I mean? Kind of like the NFL model, where you have a number, whatever that number is above my pay grade, but let's say that number is 24, or let's say that number is 22, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I heard it was 24.
Okay. After that, and you want to get in, you got to buy a team from somebody. And that owner should get a payday. And that's how you have an exit strategy in the sports business, right? Now that owner might want to keep the team to the day he dies. That's fine too. And then when you look at that, then you start looking at other opportunities once you cap out and you say, okay, let's have an IFL 2. Let's have, a this, let's have a that, maybe smaller markets, cheaper, this and that. All those things have been tried. I think you keep an NFL style model where you cap it. The teams that come in pay to come in. They bring something other than money to the table. What are you bringing to the community? What kind of quality of ownership are you going to have? What kind of community enhancement? What kind of business model are you going to run to your vendors and your hotel people and your restaurants and all the things that you utilize every day, your healthcare system? So you do all those things, and yeah, I'm saying come on in. But if you don't have something to offer, then why come in? Why let them in? And I won't say the team, I just read it. I don't know if it's true or not, but one of the teams that had some success in another league made an attempt to get into our league. And supposedly,
I know who you're talking about.
Supposedly it was rejected. Okay. Now, it could be rejected for now. It could be rejected permanently. It could be because they didn't file the proper paperwork. Couldn't be they didn't include a check with the application. Could it be a bunch of stuff? So I'm not going to speculate. But it's encouraging to see that the vetting process is in place. And I hope they do if they can and should. And I hope they do come in. If they can't, then I'm glad we kept them out. But that's between those guys. That's not nothing to do with me. But again, it goes back to giving something back to this game, this league, and what are you willing to contribute, not only financially, but community-wise and all those things. And if you do, great. God bless you. Love to have you.
So you touched on that the IFL is the premier league. For those people that don't know about the IFL, why is the IFL the premier league of indoor football?
I think right now, I'm not taking anything away from the AF1, NAL, any other smaller leagues. I'm not taking anything away from them. You got to first go on longevity and sustainability. Okay, we have the longest recorded sustainability any indoor football league in existence today. That's one. Two is quality of ownership. We have, I think it's safe to say, we have a few billionaires as owners. Okay, and we also have very strong net worth individuals that are able to pay their dues, pay their fines, pay their entry fees, do all those things. Able to sustain comfortable housing for the players, healthcare for the players, food for the players. And that's not a norm. I told guys this today. I said, we fly everywhere. We fly everywhere. Now, of course, we're in Boston or in Lowell, Mass, right? But I remember 15-hour bus rides in the AFL as a regular thing. 9 hours, 10 hours on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking this league pretty much flies everywhere unless you have a close vicinity game. So you factor all those things into it. You factor in the Adidas deal. You factor in the IFL network. You factor in, like I said, the betting process. You factor in the initiation fee to get in. You factor in our corporate sponsors, our commissioner, and his reign and what he's accomplished, and our head of officials, the fact that we have one and that he manages a pool of officials, our national championship game, our playoff system, everything that we do, no one comes close. Like it's first and then here's second. Okay. And I think that you can't say, an 8-team league or a 5-team league is competitive with us yet. Now, that's not to say AF1 couldn't get all their stuff together and get the right teams, get the right leadership, get everything rolling in the right direction, and be a competitive league. Nothing wrong with competition. It makes us better. It's going to make them better. It's going to give the players opportunity to play. Nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, I mean, it kind of is what it is, but you can't argue the point. Like, if you wanted to debate me on it, I'd kill you because you just don't have the facts to back up your side of it. We have a proven track record right now. Say again? I, be careful. Right? No, no,
No.
no. As a matter of fact, I part of me was embarrassed for him, but part of me was proud of them that they got it off, right? Because
Yeah.
that did not start well or end well. Don't forget now, when I left Albany, okay, I was the poster child for AFL football. I was going back to AFL football, and I had my mind made up, and this and that, and I was convinced. And I had to pick up a couple teams, and if I wanted to go coach them, I could coach them, and this and that. And then the more that previous ownership had, couldn't produce certain things to make me or my family feel comfortable, I decided, okay, it's unfortunately it's not going to work out. So I went back looking the other direction. The point I'm making though is that you got to remember there were some really interesting people going to come in. Like I can tell you with absolute certainty, because he interviewed me and wanted me, was one of the owners of ESPN wanted a team. And he owns that, and he owns Rydell, and he owns a bunch of stuff, and he wanted a football team. But we couldn't get the right paperwork from the league to make him feel comfortable at the end of the day. So when that ended, I thought, all right, you're not smarter than this guy. So if he don't want to get in this, you sure the heck don't want to get in this. So at the time when I left, it was the right time to do it. But I've been approached since then, to go look at that league again. But again, we're in the Premier Football League right now, and until those opportunities change, I'm very happy with what's going on with us in the IFL in general.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So, Mike Tatum is one of your coaches, correct?
yeah. Mike kind of came on board a few weeks ago. Yep,
I
yeah.
remember him when his Sioux Falls Storm beat my Rattlers in the IFL championship. That still burns. But
No, Mike is
honestly,
Mike's
go
a
on.
good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Tell him I said what's up.
I will. Mike is helping the offense, primarily working with the wide receivers.
Mhm.
Um, we actually got a new coach that started with us. I got to bring on a coach. I finally got to hire a coach. My own. No,
Nice.
I love the coaches we got, so that was a blessing. But we wanted to bring in an extra set of eyes on defense too. So you guys may remember Chris McKinney. He was with me in Albany. We won a ring together.
Hmm.
Then he went on to Columbus and won a championship there as the head coach. And lastly, he was with the Nashville Cats as their OC first part of the season. And now he's with us and he's helping me out on defense.
Awesome. So there's no rule on how many coaches you have on a team, right?
Buddy, I got a roster of coaches here. It's crazy. I think we're at 8 or 9 right now.
Yeah.
And
Do you have the most coaches in the league?
so I don't know because it seems like for every player, every 2 players, there's a coach, right? So,
Uh-huh.
but we all have, the way I've tried to structure it with the staff is on defense, in addition to overseeing everything, my job as a head coach, but on defense, I have, a defensive line coach, I have a DB coach, and then I have Chris, who's kind of a defensive assistant, an overall assistant, right? And then
Hmm.
myself, so 4 there. And then you go on the offense, and we have an OC, we have a wide receivers coach, we have a offensive coach like Mike Tatum is an assistant. We have an offensive line coach and run game coordinator. We have that. And then we have Mark Stout. So for those of you who don't know Mark Stout, let me tell you what. I had heard, depending on who you talk to, it's kind of like when you ask somebody about me. They go, "Oh, he's a great guy," or "What an idiot. I hate that guy." He's one of those guys, right? He's Mark
Hmm.
is Mark is a guy that if you don't know him, you probably don't really understand him fully, but he, and I'll say this emphatically, it's not even close. Like, it's not even close. He's the hardest working coach I've ever been around, ever. And I'm not talking about just football, I mean everything, because he handles a lot of ops and he's our special teams coordinator. But this guy, from travel to hotels to Ubers to treatments to you name it. I mean, he is tireless, unbelievable, and his football IQ is off the charts. So I go to Mark. Mark and I spend at the end of every day. Mark and I spend a half hour in my office, and we just kind of, I want to say shoot the shit, but we really do, and we just talk about football, and we talk about should we do something different, or I bounce ideas off him all the time, and he's just been a valuable asset of mine. I told him, if I ever leave here, you're coming, so you better get used to it. I ain't never letting that guy go.
So have you kind of brought a little bit of your San Antonio culture that you had to Massachusetts?
Um,
Or
it's different. Um, I haven't changed. My culture wise hasn't changed. It's God family
Mhm.
football. It's never going to leave. The guys all know my Christian beliefs on this team. They
Mhm.
know pray before practice. We pray after practice. We pray before meals. We do the things that I've always thought were important as a man of faith. But we also, I guess, there's certain things that I had to come to the realization was that I can try to form a culture here in 10 weeks with no training camp, or I can try to work within the confines of the culture that's here and then put my tint on it, if you will. And I
Hmm.
think very successful at that second part. In order, I think, for any coach to come in and bring your true culture and everything that you want into a team, you got to be here from its inception, the day one of camp, and off season with Zoom calls and phone calls and this and that. But I think they know me enough by now, and I've gotten certain things that have come back to me that really make me feel good. Is that they know that I care about them as players, but I also care more about them as people. Um, we've had, oh, we had, I don't know if I should say this publicly, but it's probably not a secret. But Puka, our running back, lost his dad. And I told him and his mom if they ever need anything, I'm there for them, and stay in contact with them, grown very close to him in the process. We have another player who's was going through some family illnesses, and I helped him get through that. We had another player that was going through some personal problems and would spend a great deal of time with him, praying with him privately and talking and just going through things. And I think that's infectious to a certain degree, where they once they feel that you care that much, they start playing even harder for you. And I didn't do it for that reason. That's just a byproduct of it. I think
So
if
you
you
guys are go on.
no, I'm just saying, I think that if you just be yourself, and they get to see who you really are and how you want to treat them and care about them, I think that that's a big part of it. I really do. I still get calls from guys in San Antonio, and I tell the players I can't talk to you.
Mhm.
I just like I can't talk to you. It'd be illegal for me to talk to you. It'd
Yeah.
be tampered, right? But I said
Hmm.
I care about you. I love you, and call me after the season. And it's not to talk about coming here or meet, anything. It's nefarious. It's just they generally call and see how I'm doing.
Hmm.
Or and it's so nice. Okay, so Clifton Duck just left the Gunslingers, right? He went to the EFL. He got an opportunity to go play in Denmark. So when he left the team and he announced he was leaving the team, I think within 24 hours I got communication from him just to say, "Hey, hope you're doing good." And I said, "Man, I'm so proud of you. Good luck. Have fun in Denmark. What a great
Hmm.
experience." And that's it. It was nothing crazy. It's just hope you're doing good. And players that San Antonio released after I left, they stay in touch on a regular basis. Just not to ask for jobs and not for that. Just how you doing? How's things going? You know,
Hmm.
and that's what you hope you build, but that takes time, right? It's really hard to do over, of course, 7, 8 games, but we're getting there. I think. uh, no.
Your just culture is infectious, and I liked you the first time I saw you in Tucson.
Thanks. I think I don't know. When I was 35, I was probably way different than I am now. I'm 65, right?
Mm.
Think at 65, there's no more pretentiousness. There's no more worrying about do I please everybody. There's no more worried about, um, you know, you just stick to your core beliefs. Nobody's going to change you
Mhm.
in your core beliefs. You hold firm. You know that some people are going to love you, some people are going to hate you. Phil Robinson probably said it so good before he passed away. The guy from Duck Dynasty. Before Phil, before he passed away, he said, "When I die, some people will dance, and some people will cry. And that's kind of how I feel I am. I think some people say, "Phew, he's out of here," and then I think some people will say, "Gonna miss that old guy," and that's okay. And I think that's part of the maturation process. When you're young, I tell these young coaches this all the time. I said, "Man, you know, they come in, they go." And not here, but just places I've been. They say, "I think I should make more money. I think I should do this. I think." And I looked at them and I said, Tim Markham and Miles Davis gave me my first jobs in indoor football. And one paid me $5,000 for my first year, and I had 2 kids for the whole year, $5,000
Mm.
because they wanted to see if I'd do it. And I cut film and I fetched coffee and I booked tea times for them. And I washed cars and I did anything you could ask of a coach to do or even a person to do. And I did that. And then the next year it quadrupled and quadrupled. And then the next year quadrupled and quadrupled. And then it started going. And I said, but a lot of young coaches don't want to pay their dues. They want to go from playing to head coach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. You got to learn your craft and you got to learn how to coach people. You got to learn how to be a good leader. You got to learn how to organize, manage time, be a salesman, be a counselor, be a priest, be a this, be a that. And I said, you're gonna, and I think that I really believe, I really and truly believe that if the IFL would listen to me on this one, is we ought to have annual coaches clinics and we ought to have annual coaches seminars.
Mm-hmm.
And back in the day in the AFL, we had AFL University, and we would bring players and coaches in that were first timers and teach them how to do things and how to do your paperwork and how to do this and how to do that. And we did them in Scottsdale, Arizona for a long weekend and played golf and broke bread together and got to know everybody. I really think that, being the premier league that we are, we should expand our tutelage and craftsmanship of what we do and get better. We all yell at the refs, but we can get better too. We can get
And
better.
Action Jackson should get invited to the owners' meetings.
God, trust me, I've been to them. You don't want to go.
I don't want to go.
You don't want to go. It's not as sexy as it sounds. Trust me.
No.
No, it's you know what it's you think about it. They're trying to do the absolute best, right, for everybody.
Mm.
And when you get 14 alpha males in a room or females in a room,
Mhm.
um, yeah, you don't want to go. You don't want to go. I mean, it's civil and all that, but you can just, it's it's productive for what they need it to be, but it's not as glamorous as you'd think it would be. And it's not like the NFL owners meetings. What to say that?
No.
No, no. But it's nice, and they do a nice job. And I was fortunate enough to get to be invited, and I represented San Antonio in January for one. And they treat you very respectfully, and you get a lot of work done, and you hear some presentations, and you hear that's like when we learned about the IFL network
Mhm.
was that, and we voted on it, and I was proxy, but we voted on it, and it was interesting, and it was exciting stuff, but I don't know what you would benefit from it because they probably wouldn't say anything in front of you. that,
No.
uh, but yeah, no, it's. I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting this year in Tucson.
For the championship game.
Yeah, well, you got the owners' meetings are there, right?
That's where they are.
Yeah, well, they usually have them where the championship's at.
Mhm.
So they're going to have the owners' meeting. They're going to have the banquet, all that stuff. Then they're going to have the game. So I'm anxious to see because Tucson's beautiful. I love Tucson, and it's going to be interesting how that gets played out this year, or for the next 3 years? I
Yeah,
think it's
next 3 years.
right. So
So how do you
Yeah,
think the playoffs are going to go?
we're gonna win everything.
You're going to win everything?
We're winning it all.
Yep. So you're going to will you
You
be
say,
represented?
what can you say to me that's wrong with that statement? Oh,
Nothing.
he's full of crap. Okay, I'll take that, but I got to believe that in my heart.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why am I doing what I'm doing?
Mhm.
I my guys, it has nothing to do with me. Zero. It has everything to do with my players. And I believe if my players play to their full best version of themselves, which is my tagline, um, nobody can beat us. But it'll be fun to find out. Either way,
Mhm.
win, lose, or draw, we'll give thanks to the good Lord and we'll congratulate someone if they can do it. That's all you can do. But I truly believe this team has the potential to do that.
You're going to have the first round's going to have 4 awesome matchups in the Eastern and Western conferences. I
Okay,
think.
so talk about that. Talk about that then, right? Okay, what's your prediction for the matchups in the West for the first round of the playoffs?
Uh I may be I may be a little biased, but
Oh, I
I see Bay Area getting 1
yeah.
and San Diego getting 4,
San Diego's
and
hot.
then San Diego is hot. I'm a little worried about Saturday.
I would
But
say, go ahead, go ahead. I'm gonna let you embarrass yourself first. I mean, say what you have to say first.
I'm Action Jackson. I always embarrass myself, but I always stand by my word.
That's all right.
But Arizona will be the 2 seed hopefully because then I get a home game and Vegas will be the 3 seed. But I just feel that Arizona has to beat San Diego twice though. That's a tough thing. So honestly, it's probably going to be Arizona would be the 4 seed or 3 seed. San Diego 2 seed. You think the 4 seed? So they play Bay Area. That's a tough game. That's the game I don't want to see. But I believe in the Rattlers, and I think they could pull an
No,
upset.
no. Hey, listen, and you got to start thinking about teams that have clinched. Do I
Hmm.
play guys? Do I play only a half? Do I play a quarter? Do I save it? You know, you got to start thinking of those things too as a coach and as an organization. So, you know, I'm hoping that Bay Area's clinched one and they only bring their cheerleaders to mass for the last game. But
Yeah.
you know, but okay, so that's so let me see if I got this right. And I want this on the record so we can look back one day and laugh. You
Okay.
got Area 1, right? You got
Hmm.
San Diego 2,
Yeah, I'll go San Diego too.
3,
Who?
and Arizona.
Vegas? Yeah.
Okay. Now tell me about the East.
East. Quad City 1,
Yep.
Jacksonville 2, Massachusetts 3, and Green Bay 4.
From your mouth to God's ears. I hope you're right.
And then Quad City will beat Green Bay in the first round, and Massachusetts will upset the Sharks in the Shark Tank.
Okay, wait a minute. It's not upset. Did you see what we did to him last time we
You
played him?
know, I know, but you guys are 3 and they're 2. That would be a minor upset.
Okay. All right. All right. So we beat Jacksonville, and then it's us in Quad Cities. In
Yes.
these, go ahead, say it. Say it. Because I got a stop button right here. Say it. Go ahead.
Massachusetts Pirates with the victory.
That
Get
would be
out the
fun.
swashbucklers.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be fun either way. We're going to have fun doing it. So,
Mhm.
I wish everybody just a healthy end of the season, great
I know.
playoffs.
That's
I mean, I just want to see guys at their absolute best. Like I really want to see the best version of everybody we're playing.
Mhm.
I do, and I want them to see the best version of us. I really do. I want to see. I want them to see the best version of us.
If
And
there
if we
was no Tucson Sugar Skulls, though, the Arizona Rattlers would be the 1 seed.
who
They
owns that team?
lost twice.
Who owns that team?
I'm unable to say that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? I mean, yeah,
Uh-huh.
but it wasn't just Tucson. They had a
Yeah.
little. How's Sneed doing? I Yeah, I know. I didn't know if he was hurt or what because it wasn't the normal Sneed we used to seeing. You know,
Yeah.
but I haven't been following him too much because I got my hands full out here. But yeah,
Hopefully, at least this game, if it's the Rattlers and the Pirates, it's a little more competitive than last year, Coach.
you know,
I
yeah.
since you're gonna call me out, I'll call you out.
See, you can't because that was BT before
That
Tom.
was the B team.
Before Tom, you can't say anything about that game to me because it means nothing. That's BT before Tom.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
no. What was funny is I shared this story with a couple people, and I know every coach, if they watch this, or any high school coach, junior high coach, pro football coach, has been in those where you're on the other end of it, right? I was
Mhm.
in the most uncomfortable position known to mankind. Why? Our suite was here in the middle. Next to me, to my right, was the Massachusetts Pirates owner suite, and to my left was the Arizona Rattlers suite. So every
Mhm.
time I got up to walk out in the hallway, use the restroom, just go for a walk, get a hat for the wife, or do something, I would run into one of them. So I would run into Arizona, and their owners hugging me, and they're high five, and it was this and that. And I went back, and Hassan, and Hassan's like, "What are they doing?" You just get put in those positions,
Yeah.
And I love Hassan. You know, we've been trying to figure out a way to work together for the last 4 or 5 years, right? So, well, but I'm like, I can't tell you. I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Arizona was just on fire, and Mass just didn't play to what Mass should have played to, you know? And it happens. It happens. And you look at those games and you go, oh, God, thank God I'm not on that side, or, that kind of thing. But it happens. But the fact that I think Mass has been, since they came into this league, been in the playoffs every year, pretty darn good. That's why I
So,
can't break with me. So,
are
yeah.
you at liberty to say what happened with San Antonio and how you came to Massachusetts, or would you rather?
No, I mean, listen, I have nothing but respect for the ownership in San Antonio. We just didn't
Mhm.
see advance and things at the end, and they can say what they want to say. I can say what I want to say or believe, and I hope they don't hold any ill will towards me because I don't hold any ill will towards them. Um, no, good luck. Good luck. I wish you nothing but the best and great health and continued success. When I left there, um, probably for the first 2, 3 weeks, I was on the phone just about every day with Coach Fuller, helping him navigate through it.
Mhm.
Doesn't sound like a guy was holding a grudge, right? So I was telling him how to get the paperwork and who to call and who to get this and doing that. And James and I were friends, and I like to think we're still friends. So no animosity at all. I miss a lot of the people there. I miss the fans in particular.
Mhm.
Certain. What's really crazy to me though, I don't know if you've noticed this. Um, I am so grateful to fans at Albany. Like I've got this crazy Albany fan base that follows me wherever I go, and God love them, I sure do. And they always they like posting my grandkids, and they're always saying something nice. And at Christmas time, getting wishes, birthday, this, and that. And they're all from Albany. We win the game at Mass. I get congratulations from Albany. And yeah, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. That was some of the best fans I ever had in my entire life. Was when I was in Albany, and so that's the other thing. And I hope everyone gets on board with this. If we want to be the Premier League, we can't just cultivate a fan base in our hometown. We have to be like the NFL. So I know living in Michigan that there's Cowboy fans for the Dallas Cowboys. I know that in Texas there's Detroit Lions fans. I know, in Boston there's fans for the Rams, and the Rams have fans for the Patriots and whatever. I think we need to continually cultivate our fan base through merchandise stores, like one common league store, like an Amazon store. Okay. And where people can go on and buy all IFL gear and do things like that. I think that we ought to have a lot of sweepstakes, a lot of contests that interconnect teams and franchises. I think we ought to have a national combine centrally located in the United States every year, not unlike the NFL does. I think that eventually we ought to lead to either some type of draft as well down the road. These are just old man ideas, okay? If I were the guy pulling the trigger, I could see that as being I think we need bigger national sponsors, not just localized sponsors. I think we need an airline to be a sponsor. I think we need a telecom communication company to be a sponsor. I think we need a rental car company to be a full-time. And I'm not talking about a guy who gives you 15% off. I'm talking about a guy who, your plane fare's covered for the season, for the entire league. That's what I'm talking about.
So, do you think Todd Tryon's in the works with this stuff?
I think he's always working on something. I
Yeah.
think Todd he's a really good commissioner. He's a good man. I think he works real hard at his craft. And but again, he's wrangling 14 owners, right? And he works at the pleasure of those ownerships. So they gotta want it too. And I think that everybody likes ideas until they find out it costs money. You know, but it was crazy. Not too long ago, I approached Amazon about a sponsorship, and the knee-jerk reaction I had was get one for the league. Don't just go in and get one for a team. Go in there and get one for the league. And it's such a monster to navigate, right? That it made it almost impossible in the time period I had to do it. So I said, hey, how about this? You guys are big on drone delivery, right? Said, yeah. I said, how about you deliver every game football in every stadium on game day with an Amazon drone and drop the ball on the 25-yard line? Great for you, great for us. First year, you don't have to pay us anything, and just do it. See what you get out of it. Oh, yeah, that sounds fantastic. We'll get back to you. That was 6 months ago. I haven't heard a word. Crickets. So, but I don't have the time to stay on top of something like that, right? So I think that that's the other thing. You can ask a commissioner to do a job, but then you should give him a full staff. You should give him a full bona fide office. You should, when I was in the AFL, we were on Wacker Drive in Chicago. Commissioner Baker was there. Joe Brankin was there, the financial CFO. Everybody was under one roof, right? And you could go there and get business done. And then they end up moving to New York, right? Just like the NFL, though, the NFL offices, that's where all the sponsorships, TV deals, negotiations, all the things, the staff, all that costs money. And until you get that backing in some form, it's pretty hard because you'll ask, I'm not speaking for Commissioner Tryon, but you can ask him to do something. But you guys also got to give him the opportunity to be successful in doing it. Give him the tools. I always say I can build a house with a rock and can be a right angle in the joint. But if you give me a hammer, It's going to be a pretty nice house, right? So it's kind of the same thing with those things, is that as this league continues to develop and grow and prosper, which I know it will, um, hopefully those things will come on the horizon. Because at the end of the day, not only the owners and the players benefit, the fans benefit. The experience will get too.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to see what's on the horizon for the IFL, and
Me
I
too.
really appreciate you coming on my show and
Always,
talking.
always.
Yep.
We tried this last year. Remember,
Yes.
we did
Mm-hmm.
an half together. And we didn't record the sound,
Yep.
but
So,
always.
do you got any words for Mike Davis? Because I'm going to do a podcast with him tomorrow.
Mike is one of my dearest friends. I consider him a dear, dear friend. We talk all the
Yeah.
time. He called me the other day, and we'll talk football for a little bit, and then we'll just talk smack to each other for a little bit. Um, do what you do, Mike. I mean, that's the one thing about Mike. He's got words. He can use his vocabulary pretty good. But he's an exceptional coach, great teacher of
Yeah.
men. And, just
Really
an old
great guy.
family guy, just a good man. Support
Mhm.
support Vegas. We need more
Yep.
guys in the league like Mike. So good man.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure, and I hope you have a wonderful night. And good luck against Tulsa and the rest of the season.
Thanks, brother.
I'll see you
Appreciate
in Tucson.
it. All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Here. Bye.